Jackie had a blog on Substack, which is a platform for independent journalists, and you can earn revenue through it. And her blog, Cannabis, covered, obviously, cannabis stories of various sorts. And she was able to generate revenue through it via her subscribers and followers. And then suddenly she received an email from Stripe, the payments company, saying that she could no longer accept payments because it violated their terms. And so I will read the terms of Stripe payments, which the High Times article goes into. And if you look at the Stripe payment terms, they are immediately suspending any and all services to you and the access of Stripe technology if you breach this agreement of any other parties. So the contract is, the policy specifically includes only the following policies: cannabis dispensaries and related businesses, CBD products with THC levels that are greater than the applicable local jurisdiction's legal limit, including CBD edibles, hydroponic equipment and other cultivation or product equipment marketed for growing marijuana, courses and information on cultivating marijuana. So those are the items that, if you're covering or writing about those, supposedly you cannot accept payments from Stripe. So only one of those three really applied to Cannabis, which would be the courses and information, potentially. Obviously, Jackie was not selling anything. She was just providing journalism stories. And so Jackie went to... we kept the blog going, but then, it stopped accepting payments, tried to fight Stripe. They basically said, no, we're not changing our view. And then the good news of this story is actually, by the time this High Times article was posted, Stripe did reinstate Jackie's ability to take payments on Substack. And so in the end, Jackie won this war. However, the article does go into to talk about why this was an issue larger than just, a journalist losing their ability to generate revenue, something that every journalist needs and deserves, as it's harder and harder for journalists to even make a living, but also how this story really ties capitalism to free speech and, what these policies and payments mean when journalists cannot, again, earn revenue simply for talking or writing about cannabis. So while this is a great story that, Jackie fought the good fight and she won, and we've got visibility on it, we know there are many operators losing this fight and not being able to take payments, not just for probably journalism, but obviously their products. But I will stop there and let Jackie chime in. And Jackie, tell us about your experience, if you don't mind. And
yeah, it's been kind of a crazy few weeks. So I got an email from Stripe out of the blue. Apparently, they changed their financial regulations due to some pass down from federal advice at the beginning of this year. I actually don't really know what that was.
I missed anything, but what it was like going through.
Oh.
You're good.
I'm good. Okay. Sorry about that. So, yeah. Those terms of sale were not actually in place when I started my Stripe account and my Substack account about 4 years ago. It was April, May 2020. So those were new. I had no idea that they were happening. And apparently, since those regulations have come down, Stripe has been auditing its accounts. So the first notification I got, very interestingly, was them telling me that they looked at my subscriber list and they said that there were many restricted businesses on the subscriber list. I said that is 100% not my problem. Like, I can't control who subscribes and I won't. And, if that happens to come from a cannabis company. So FYI, Stripe is like auditing subscribers. And so they kind of just kept asking me for more information, and then I kept giving it, and then they kept saying, oh, you didn't respond, so we're going to cancel your account further. And I kept repassing the information, et cetera, et cetera. We went back and forth for a few weeks, and then finally they said, okay, well, you're linking to cannabis businesses and businesses that sell cannabis paraphernalia, so that's in violation. Completely different reasoning. By this point, Substack had gotten involved. I had made enough, noise publicly that they responded to me without even reaching out. And they weren't totally helpful, truthfully, but they did get me information that I wouldn't have gotten on my own. They were not really helpful in advocating for me, I don't think. But at some point I just dropped, I have an article coming out. They will be reaching out for comment. And then honestly, and they said, whatever, we don't care. You're done. You're toast. And they definitively denied me 5 separate times last week. I have all of that correspondence. And then I woke up on Friday morning and I had an email and they said, we reviewed your account and you're good to process. Now, Claire Sawson, the excellent journalist who wrote that High Times article and did a really great job researching and outlaying it, I was very proud and happy that she just didn't go rah, 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 pot's good, we're good, you're bad. Like, she really went into the terms of service and really investigated and showed exactly, the hypocrisy and the things that weren't right there, which is really important for this. I think it's important we take that activism anger a step beyond and really show the facts. So she did a nice job there. But yeah, Claire asked for comment, I understand, from Stripe and Substack on Thursday, and by Friday my account was reinstated. So I wasn't sure if High Times was a big enough publication to move the needle. Obviously it is, but it is a niche cannabis publication, and I know from being in media that cannabis media often gets denigrated, not counted as the real authority in terms of mainstream media. It's just the truth, and that's another stigma that I've been finding kind of my whole career. But I guess it did. I don't know. I guess it did move the needle, because after she asked for comments, suddenly my account was reinstated. So there's a lot of lessons here, but there's other people I've talked to, like Make a King of Cash Color Cannabis. He's a black man and he has a Substack and he lost his battle with Stripe and he has not been able to reinstate for over a year now. He has a smaller audience than me. He's not as loud as me. I don't, for whatever reason that is. And so I think it needs to be shown that certain operators, just by virtue of maybe who they are or the connections they have or whatever, it's not going to work for them. The only reason I think this worked for me is because I'm a 38-year-old white woman with the Karen in my bones. And if someone comes for me, I'm going to go fucking nuts on them. And so that's exactly what happened. And I used all of my connections to do that. Not everybody has that. And so I think that's a really big issue that needs to be talked about here. I won because I'm a fucking pain in the ass, I think is honestly really what happened. And I'm proud of that. And frankly, but yeah, it's been kind of wild, but
so you're the Dana Beal, you're the Dana Beal of payments.
I'm not changing
Jackie?
my content. I'll have an unpaid newsletter, and I was going to sort of ride that wave as the most illegal newsletter in cannabis, but I guess I can't do that anymore. So
you're the Dana Beal of payments for journalists?
No. This is amazing.
I did think that during that story. I was like, I'm being like this.
No, this is a fantastic story.
Okay, cool. It's been fucking crazy. I can't. Well, so the reason why I think I got nailed is because
Jackie,
I have
mad respect.
Hannah in my name, right? So I'm the first one, I guess, that they were like, okay, you're really
bitch.
Yeah, the bitch thing doesn't help either, probably.
You were selling
help.
journalism, not weed.
That doesn't
That's
help.
what I said. And they're like, well, you're linking and advocating. And I'm like, I can't, listen.
Yeah, but that's not in their terms of contract. That wasn't in their terms of contract.
Defendant for defamation cases. And, I have had to defend myself in much more serious ways. And I also testify in federal court as an expert witness for defense for cannabis cases. I'm not, I don't know. And I know what I'm doing and I cross my T's and dot my I's. So it's just kind of wild to me that I can do all that and I can defend myself in court and win. And that, against things like that in terms of free speech. And then I can't even fucking link to a bong and say, I like this bong. Mm-hmm. Absolutely melts my brain. And it for me, this is why I do the work. The hypocrisy, weed to me, I love weed, love it medically, think it has great benefits, but at the end of the day, it's fucking weed. It is really not that big of a deal. And it's insane the way everybody spins out over it. And so for me, that line of hypocrisy, that line of spinning out is what I'm totally obsessed with. I have a book deal I'm working on right now that's very largely centered around that and the history of it. And kind of funny that this happened to me because now I have a nice example I can add on.
Yeah, you have a chapter now.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've done you a favor by doing this to you because they picked on the wrong Karen, obviously, right? And so now you get to turn this negative into a positive and yet another example and content to write about. I don't know that it's protected free speech because there is this commerce component, right? And so, you know, when you link to a bong, you know, somebody's argument is, well, you know, you're promoting the sale or people using this and this and that. But the problem is it's such a slippery slope, right? Do we stop all chat forums for people who like guns because there's crazy people who are shooting up schools these days? Do we not let people talk about taking the catalytic converter off of a race car when they're at Sears Point Raceway because they're advocating for doing something that is illegal to the vehicle?
Child pornography. That's the only content we say you can't have and engage with and link to and share on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you bested me with the Chomo example, but this whole notion that you're not allowed to talk about things because you're 1 or 2 degrees away of separation from something that could be not allowed in a certain state. It is crazy, and God bless them for making the pivot. And to your point,
thank them profusely after cursing them out and literally telling them to go to hell multiple.
So that's kind of what date night looks like for me and Heather, right? Like, fuck you, love you, what you want to do. But anyway, so I totally get that. But I really appreciated the way you contextualized your journey with other people who are also writing and promoting and amplifying and talking about, and how some of them aren't having the same outcomes either because they don't have the same fight or they don't have the same follower count. So, like, really, God bless you, not only for what you're doing, but also for talking about the way it impacts all of the writers and not just your own journey.
Yeah, big time respect to you, Jackie. I, as a business owner who uses Stripe as a primary source to get revenue, it's awesome. First of all, that there's a precedent now set, also by strong woman, as you know, I'm a partner in a woman founded company on that business. So it's like, this is super dope. You're a fucking warrior. And also, you know, fuck Stripe for trying to like do that to you, and fuck Stripe for doing that to other people that are not selling any cannabis goods. It's like, get your head out of your ass. You're impeding the revenue of like independent journalists, entrepreneurs, small businesses. Shame on you guys. Shame.
Make another point, because I do work in media, and you know, my husband is a journalist as well. He's an investigative journalist who is quite decorated, went to Columbia Journalism School, has written about criminal cops, etc. He was laid off in July. He still doesn't have work and is having a very hard time finding work because that type of journalism isn't really funded anymore, and no one's really interested in it, because media is turning into 100% just a connected tool, like I said in the article, for, you know, a tool for the wealthy and connected. It is a marketing
propaganda. Yeah,
it's propaganda. If someone doesn't like what you say, you can sue them into oblivion. It happened to me. There is a very large California cannabis company that, there's a reason I work at a lifestyle magazine now. They intimidated the fuck out of me, and I needed to like save my mental health. And a lot of people watching this will know exactly what company I'm talking about.
Wow. Jackie, we definitely appreciate.
Yeah, so you know, it's part of that. It's like you take away, you know, so it's just because.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Rico. Go ahead.
No, we appreciate Elise joining us today and covering the story, and Jackie, you joining us today and telling your side of it. Like, this is awesome. I'm sorry this is happening to you, especially Stripe being a California-based company. Like, fuck them. Like,
yeah. You know what?
We gotta go. You guys, we're way over time. We gotta go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back.
Email. I think your Stripe account was just canceled.
We gotta go to a commercial, you guys.